What happens when a calm morning on live television takes a sharp turn, not with raised voices or heated debates, but with a single comment that cuts deeper than anyone expected? What happens when an icon, someone America has adored for decades, finds herself blindsided in front of millions? Before we dive into the moment that changed everything, make sure you subscribe to Talk Flair, hit that like button, and drop a comment below, because this story isn't just dramatic, it's unforgettable. The lights over the studio glowed with that familiar brightness that The View was known for. A warmth, a comfort, a sense that whatever chaos erupted on that circular table, it always existed within a world where conversation was the ultimate currency. The audience buzzed with anticipation, whispering excitedly as cameras glided across the room. Today wasn't just any episode. Today, Jennifer Aniston was in the building. And there she sat, center stage but slightly withdrawn, as though she carried something unseen behind her smile. Her hair, perfectly styled in soft waves, framed a face that was trying so hard to look lighthearted. She was promoting her newest film, a project she'd poured months of emotion into. But the film wasn't what the air felt charged about. It was the unspoken questions, the relentless tabloid rumors, the harsh comments online she'd been quietly battling. Sunny Hostin leaned forward, giving Jennifer a gentle nod, encouraging her to speak more about the role. "It seems very personal," Sunny said. "More vulnerable than we've seen you in a while." Jennifer smiled politely. "It is. It's been a journey. A lot of reflection. A lot of asking myself where I am in my life." The audience murmured softly, sensing that she wasn't just talking about the movie. Then Joy Behar shifted in her seat. A subtle movement, but filled with a familiar energy. One that hinted she was about to say something bold, something off-cuff, something that would hit the wrong nerve at the wrong time. Joy chuckled, waving a hand in the air. "Jen, honey, you've had more journeys than most of us combined. I mean, at this point, I feel like your life is one long therapeutic memoir." The audience laughed, but not all of them. There was confusion in the mix, uncertainty. Even Whoopi raised an eyebrow, glancing sideways as if silently asking, "Where are you going with this?" Jennifer smiled, but it wasn't real. It flickered at the corners, strained. Joy pressed on. "I'm just saying," she added with that familiar tone. "Every time you're here, you're talking about healing or growth or heartbreak or rebirth. It's like you're America's emotional frequent flyer." The laughter this time was louder, but not kinder. Jennifer blinked. Something in her chest tightened. You could see it, the shift, the microsecond where her breath hitched. She tried to steady herself, but the comment landed with a weight she hadn't prepared for, especially today. Because today had already been heavy, even before she walked onto that stage. Her team knew it. Her close friends knew it. Her eyes hinted at it. Sunny's smile faded. "Joy," she began, tone cautious. But Joy kept going, as if she thought she was simply being funny. "I just think at a certain point, you've got to stop letting everything get to you. You're Jennifer Aniston. Be tough already." And those final 4 words shifted the entire atmosphere of the room. Be tough already. Jennifer inhaled slowly, her fingers curling around the mug in front of her. She stared at Joy with a mix of disbelief and hurt. Something in her expression, something quiet, something deeply internal, began to tremble. I am tough," she whispered. Her voice was so soft the audience leaned forward. "All my life," she continued, "people have told me to toughen up, to handle it, to smile, to be grateful, to be quiet about the things that truly hurt. And I've done that, more than you know." Sunny reached out instinctively, placing a hand on Jennifer's arm. Joy froze, a flicker of awareness finally passing over her face. Jennifer swallowed hard, like she was trying to keep something inside from spilling out. But emotions have a way of pushing through even the strongest walls, especially when they're built too high for too long. "I've been through things," she said slowly, "that I'll probably never publicly talk about. Losses, betrayals, health scares, moments where I didn't recognize myself. And every time I've come here, I've tried to share pieces of myself that I thought might help someone else. Not for attention, not for sympathy, just to be honest." The room fell silent. Even the camera operators stood still. Joy's face softened, but she didn't speak. Jennifer looked down for a moment, breathing shakily. When she lifted her head, her eyes shimmered. Not with anger, not with defensiveness, but with something far more vulnerable, pain. "You don't get to tell me to be tough," she said, voice trembling. "You don't know what I've survived just to sit in this chair today." A stunned gasp rippled through the studio audience. Whoopi leaned in, her voice low, steady. Jennifer, take your time. But time wasn't the issue. Something had cracked open. Jennifer closed her eyes for a brief second, as though fighting an internal storm. And when she opened them again, a single tear slipped down her cheek. Unintentional, uncontrollable. The audience reacted instantly, some whispering, some covering their mouths in shock. Joy's tone completely changed. Jen, sweetheart, I didn't mean. Jennifer cut her off gently. I know you didn't mean to hurt me. But you did. And then it happened. The moment no one expected. Her breath broke, just slightly, but enough. Enough for the cameras to catch it. Enough for the audience to understand how close she was to unraveling completely. The air became thick with tension, the kind that grips every person in the room without warning. A tension that signaled something was coming, something raw, emotional, and impossible to contain. And this was only the beginning. The silence inside the studio hovered like a dense fog, unsettling, unexpected, and impossible to ignore. Jennifer sat there, eyes glistening beneath the bright stage lights, the weight of Joy's comment still vibrating in the air like an invisible shockwave. The audience didn't dare move. Even the cameras seemed to hesitate, their slow red lights flickering as though they, too, understood the fragility of the moment. Joy's face was pale now, her earlier burst of humor swallowed whole by guilt. She opened her mouth, then closed it again, speechless for once. She wasn't used to crossing a line that couldn't easily be laughed off. But today was different. Jennifer, Sonny said softly, leaning in again. You don't have to say anything more if you don't want to. But Jennifer shook her head. It wasn't defiance. It wasn't pride. It was something deeper, an instinct to be honest, even when honesty felt dangerous. No, she whispered. I think I need to. The audience leaned in further, their breathing almost synchronized. It felt like the world beyond those studio walls had vanished, leaving only Jennifer and the truth she was trying so hard to hold steady. She wiped her cheek gently, the tear leaving a faint shimmering streak across her skin. I'm not angry, she said quietly. I'm just tired. The words hit the room like a soft explosion. Tired. Not in the physical sense. Not in the Hollywood burnout sense. But tired in the way a person becomes after carrying too many unspoken burdens for too long. I didn't sleep much last night, she continued, voice tender and fragile. I almost canceled this interview. But I didn't want to let people down. I never want to let people down. Joy's eyes widened. Jen, please, Jennifer said gently. Just let me finish. Joy nodded, swallowing hard. Jennifer's hands clasped together on the table, fingers trembling slightly. When you're someone like me, people think you're invincible. They think you've had the best life, the smoothest path. But they don't see the cracks. They don't see the breaks. They don't see the nights you cry alone because the world expects you to be strong every second of your life. A woman in the front row pressed a hand to her chest. Sonny's eyes softened. Whoopi shifted forward, as though preparing to intervene if needed. And then Jennifer continued, her voice growing steadier, though her eyes betrayed the storm brewing inside her. When you've been in the spotlight as long as I have, people think they know everything. They think they have the right to comment on your relationships, your choices, your body, your age, your... Her voice cracked on the last word. Your worth. The audience gasped quietly. Jen, Whoopi murmured. Jennifer's eyes closed again, not to shut anyone out, but because saying the words felt like pulling threads from an old wound. I've spent my whole life being judged, being compared, being picked apart. And every time people tell me to toughen up, to ignore it, to just smile. She opened her eyes and looked directly at Joy, straight into her guilt-ridden expression. So when I hear you say it, someone I've respected for years, it hits different. It hits deeper. Joy swallowed, her voice a soft rasp. I didn't know you were going through something. Jennifer shook her head. It's not just one thing. It's everything. It's years of everything. The air vibrated with emotion. Even the slightest movement, a cough, a shuffle, felt disruptive. Jennifer drew in a shaky breath. You know, people think celebrities don't feel things the same way. They think we're insulated. But we're not. We feel everything. Sometimes more intensely. Because the world is always watching. Waiting. Ready to judge. Her words hung like a suspended truth, floating heavy and raw between the women at the table. Sonny leaned in again. Jennifer, you are loved. Truly loved. But this moment, you don't have to carry it alone. Jennifer smiled faintly, sadly. I know, but sometimes it feels like I do. Joy finally spoke, her voice trembling. I'm so sorry, Jen. I was trying to lighten the mood. You know me, I say things without thinking. But I would never want to hurt you. You're someone people adore. Someone I adore. Jennifer looked at her, eyes softening. I know you didn't mean to be cruel. But sometimes a joke isn't just a joke to the person hearing it. A murmur of agreement rippled through the audience. Joy's voice grew smaller. You're right. Jennifer exhaled deeply, her shoulders slumping slightly, as though a weight she'd been carrying had suddenly become visible to everyone watching. For the past few months, she said, voice trembling again, things have been hard. Personally, emotionally, I've been trying to keep it together, trying not to let anyone down. And today, your comment just... She pressed her lips together, her voice beginning to falter. It just hit a place in me that's already hurting. At that moment, the camera zoomed in. Too close, too revealing. Jennifer didn't notice at first. She was lost in her own confession. But then she saw the red light blink toward her out of the corner of her eye. And something snapped. Her eyes widened, not with anger, but with sudden awareness. The moment she'd been trying to keep small, private, contained, was now being broadcast to millions. She lifted a hand to her face, as if trying to shield herself from the world. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to fall apart like this. Sunny shook her head. Jen, no one is judging you. But Jennifer wasn't so sure. Her breath quickened. Her jaw tightened. And then she whispered something that made the entire room go silent again. I don't want people to see me like this. Whoopi raised a hand quickly toward the crew. Cut to commercial, she instructed firmly. But before the show could fade to black, before the cameras could pull away, Jennifer's composure finally slipped. Her voice broke. Her eyes glossed over completely. And she whispered, almost inaudibly, I can't do this right now. The world saw her crumble at the very edge of the cut. And when the screen faded out, the tension didn't fade with it. Inside that studio, emotions were spiraling. And Jennifer Aniston was standing on the brink of something even deeper. The moment the cameras cut to commercial, the studio fell into a strange kind of chaos, the silent kind. Not the frantic flurry of producers shouting or assistants running, but the sharp, breathless tension that settles when something unexpected and deeply human breaches the polished surface of live television. Jennifer sat frozen, her eyes fixed on the table as if anchoring herself to something solid. Her hands trembled slightly, fingers clutching the edge of her mug like it was the only thing keeping her grounded. The lights dimmed just enough to soften the harshness of the stage glow, but it didn't soften the storm inside her. Whoopi Goldberg stood first, not dramatically, not forcefully, but with the calm authority that only she possessed on that set. She stepped carefully toward Jennifer, her voice gentle. Jen, let's get you a moment, okay? Just breathe. Jennifer nodded, but the nod was weak, barely perceptible. She swallowed hard, trying to steady herself. I'm sorry, she whispered, more to herself than to anyone else. Sunny slid her chair closer, placing a supportive hand on her back. You don't have to apologize for being human. But Jennifer shook her head, a tear escaping despite her best effort to contain it. I shouldn't have broken down like that. Not here. Not now. Before anyone could answer, a producer approached quietly, headset still on, his expression soft with concern. Jennifer, we can give you a private space backstage. Take as much time as you need. No pressure to return. Joy Behar hadn't moved from her seat. She sat rigid, eyes locked on Jennifer with a mixture of guilt, regret, and something else, fear. Fear that she had done something irreversible. She finally found her voice. Jen, please hear me out. Sunny shot her a warning look, but Joy continued anyway, her tone stripped of humor, stripped of anything but sincerity. I wasn't thinking. I should have been kinder. I know that. I didn't realize how much you were holding inside. Jennifer slowly lifted her head. Her eyes were red, but not angry. Just tired, as she had said earlier. Deeply, overwhelmingly tired. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, she said softly. Joy exhaled shakily, her shoulders dropping in relief at the acknowledgement. But Jennifer wasn't finished. It's just today wasn't the day for jokes. Not like that. I've been barely holding it together since I woke up. And when you said that, it felt like the last little thread snapped. Joy's face tightened. I'm sorry, she whispered. Truly, I should have known better. Whoopi stepped between them gently, putting a hand on Joy's shoulder. Let's all take a breath. This isn't about blame right now. It's about taking care of Jen. Jennifer closed her eyes again as the words settled over her. She didn't want pity. She didn't want attention. She wanted peace, a moment, just one moment, where she didn't have to be the resilient, smiling version of herself the world had always expected. The audience sat in near silence, an unusual stillness for a live taping. People whispered softly, exchanged glances filled with concern, even shock. Some wiped their eyes, moved by what felt like witnessing someone's private breaking point unfold in real time. A stage assistant approached quietly, offering Jennifer a small tissue pack. She took it, her fingers brushing the girl's hand, and whispered, "Thank you." It was such a small gesture, yet it felt enormous in the fragile atmosphere. "Jen," Sunny said gently, "you don't have to go back on air if you don't want to. We'll adjust the show. We'll handle everything else." Jennifer hesitated. Her breath hitched again. She glanced around the table, at Sunny's supportive gaze, Whoopi's steady calm, even Joy's remorseful eyes. She saw not co-hosts, but human beings trying to hold a fragile moment together. "I don't want to run away," she said softly. Whoopi nodded. "You won't be. You'd just be giving yourself what you need." Jennifer looked down at her hands, twisting the tissue slowly between her fingers. Maybe I do need a minute. Just 1 minute." Sunny stood, giving her shoulder a gentle squeeze. "Let me walk with you." They helped her up. Jennifer moved carefully, like someone afraid the world beneath her might crack open at any second. As she stood, a wave of applause gently rose from the audience, not loud, not overwhelming. Just a soft, supportive gesture. Jennifer paused, her eyes widening slightly at the sound. She looked out at them, faces filled with kindness, sympathy, understanding. The applause continued, a subtle message. "It's okay. We see you. We're with you." She wiped another tear, and a faint, fragile smile appeared. "Thank you," she whispered to them. Joy watched her walk away, her heart sinking. She whispered to Whoopi, "I really messed up." Whoopi sighed softly. "You made a mistake, Joy. But what matters now is how you handle the aftermath." Backstage, the air was cooler, quieter. Jennifer stepped into the green room, Sunny at her side. The door closed behind them, muting the distant hum of the studio. Jennifer collapsed onto the nearest couch, burying her face in her hands. She wasn't sobbing, but she was shaking, the emotional weight spilling over in tremors. Sunny sat beside her. "Jen, listen to me. Whatever you're going through, it doesn't make you weak. It makes you real." Jennifer drew in a sharp, trembling breath. "I just didn't want to break down on national television. Not again. Not after everything." Sunny nodded. "But maybe people needed to see this. To realize you're not some untouchable figure who never struggles." Jennifer stared at the floor, lost in thought. It's just been so much lately. And that comment, it was small, but it landed in a place that's been hurting. Sunny didn't pry. She just sat with her, giving her space, not forcing anything. Back at the table, Joy paced nervously, murmuring, "I shouldn't have said that. Why did I say that? Why do I open my mouth before thinking?" Whoopi sighed. "Because you're Joy. But what matters now is what happens when she comes back." "If she comes back," Joy corrected quietly. Whoopi didn't answer. She didn't have to. Minutes ticked by. 7, 10, 12. And then the door backstage opened, and Jennifer stepped out. Her face was calmer now. Her eyes still red but steady. Her posture fragile but determined. The entire studio fell silent the moment she reappeared. Whoopi nodded respectfully. "You sure?" she asked. Jennifer took a breath. "I'm sure." She walked back to the table, each step filled with quiet courage. Quiet resilience. Quiet pain. But she was back. The cameras prepared to resume. And everyone knew. The next segment would not be like any other in The View's history. When the show returned from commercial, the studio lights rose slowly, like dawn after a long, turbulent night. The audience remained unusually quiet, no cheering, no clapping, just a warm, steady presence waiting for Jennifer to reappear. And then she did. Jennifer took her seat again, the tissue still in her hand, though now mostly crumpled. Her eyes were calmer, clearer, though the vulnerability hadn't disappeared. It lingered in the delicate set of her shoulders, the gentle tremor in her breath, the raw honesty etched across her face. Whoopi cleared her throat, her voice low and deliberate. "Welcome back, everyone. Before we continue, we want to acknowledge what just happened. Jen, thank you for coming back to sit with us." Jennifer looked at her, offering a faint but sincere smile. "Thank you for giving me a moment." Joy sat rigid, her fingers entwined so tightly her knuckles were white. She took a slow, shaky breath. "Jen, I need to say something. The room grew still again. Jennifer turned toward her, not defensive, not closed off, just open, ready. Joy exhaled. I crossed a line. I made a joke that wasn't just badly timed. It was insensitive. And it hurt you. I am truly sorry. I respect you. I admire you. And I never wanted to be the reason you felt pain on this show. Her voice cracked slightly, a rare sound from someone known for her sharp tongue. Jennifer nodded softly. Thank you, Joy. Really? Joy swallowed. If there's anything I can do. You already did it, Jennifer interrupted gently. You apologized. And that means a lot. A ripple of relief spread across the table. But the moment wasn't over yet, because Jennifer had something more to say. She looked out at the audience, then into the camera, straight into the millions watching at home. I want to be honest, she began, her voice steady but thick with emotion. Today wasn't easy for me. And Joy's comment, it hit a tender spot. Not because she meant harm, but because sometimes you're just not okay. And you're trying to pretend you are. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle over everyone. For the last few months, I've been dealing with a lot of personal challenges. Things the public doesn't see. Things I don't always talk about. And that's okay. Everyone goes through things quietly. But pretending to be fine, pretending to be unshakable, it's exhausting. Her eyes glistened again, not breaking, not crumbling, but glowing with a painful honesty. I've made a whole career out of being strong on camera, she continued. But today reminded me that strong doesn't always mean smiling. Sometimes strong is letting people see you as you are, even when it's messy. A soft murmur of agreement rose from the audience. Whoopi leaned in. That took courage to say. And a lot of people watching probably needed to hear it. Jennifer nodded. I hope so. Because if there's anything I can share from today, it's that you never really know what someone is going through. Even someone who seems to have everything together. She looked at Joy again. Not with resentment, but with compassion. A small comment can land in a big place. So we all need to be a little more gentle with each other. Joy looked down, emotional, humbled. You're right, she whispered. Sunny added softly. Kindness matters. More than we think. The audience broke into applause. Not explosive, not chaotic, but heartfelt. Applause that said they understood. That they felt the moment. That they were behind her. Jennifer inhaled deeply, the tension in her shoulders finally easing. Thank you, she said to them. Really. But then, something unexpected happened. A woman from the third row shouted, voice trembling. We love you, Jen. The audience erupted. Cheers, claps, emotional affirmations filling the room like a swell of warmth. Jennifer's hand flew to her mouth, eyes glistening once more. But this time with a different kind of emotion. Not pain. Not embarrassment. Gratitude. Overwhelming gratitude. She mouthed, thank you, again and again, her voice too soft to carry over the cheers. When the noise finally settled, Whoopi spoke again. I think we should wrap this segment by saying, this is real life. Real feelings. Real moments. And we're grateful Jennifer trusted us enough to be real with us today. Jennifer looked at her, touched. Thank you for holding space for me. Sunny reached over and squeezed her hand. Always. Joy brushed a tear from her own cheek, looking smaller than she ever had on that stage. You handled this with so much grace. Jennifer smiled gently. I'm trying. The cameras zoomed out slightly, capturing all of them together. The messy, human, honest aftermath of a moment that was never supposed to happen but somehow needed to. As the show moved to a scheduled wrap-up, the tension in the room had transformed. Not erased, not forgotten, but softened, reshaped into something more meaningful. But outside the studio, the explosion was just beginning. Within minutes, clips of Jennifer's emotional moment flooded social media. Jennifer Aniston breaks down on The View. Joy Behar under fire after insensitive comment. Raw, real, heartbreaking. Jennifer opens up like never before. Hashtags trended worldwide. Fans defended her fiercely. Others scrutinized the moment endlessly. The media dissected every second. But one thing became painfully clear. People saw her humanity, and they couldn't look away. By the time she left the building, escorted gently by producers, the sidewalks were packed with reporters, fans, and camera flashes bursting like fireworks. Jennifer kept her head low, not out of shame, but because she was still processing everything. And as she slid into the waiting car, she whispered through the window before it closed. I hope something good comes from today. Maybe it would. Maybe it already had. And now, if you're watching this right now on Talk Flair, here's your moment to weigh in. What do you think about what happened on The View? Did Joy go too far? Do you think Jennifer's reaction was justified? What's your take on the emotional fallout? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. And if you want more intense, dramatic, cinematic breakdowns of the biggest celebrity moments, make sure you subscribe to Talk Flair, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss another explosive story. Because here, the drama never sleeps.